Wednesday. It's Wednesday right here, the day after Election Day. And I hope everybody's feeling fine. I know it's cold outside. I had a couple of snowflakes falling last night. That could sadden you real quick. But I didn't get sad. Yeah, they fell down. So it's cold. So winter's coming. And as the poet Shelley would say, that after that, the spring is on the way or something like that. So it'll be a good thing this winter's coming, and then we can anticipate spring. So how's everybody doing? I'm going to talk a little bit about the Worcester election. I think it was fine. I think it went really well. We lost Michael Gaffney. He's gone now. He can go off and make all his money and open new chapters in his life and stuff, which is probably a good thing, because I don't know if he was doing very well as a politician. But we did gain a few more politicians, I guess. Sean Rose. Yep. He'll change his name. But yeah, he came in, and that's a good thing. And Sarai Rivera, everybody smile. Sarai won, so that's a good thing. And what's that boy's name? Oh, I forget his name. Christian King won. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of the regular incumbents won. And Campanella won for the school committee and stuff. He's on the school committee now, which I think is probably the best thing that's happened to Worcester in quite a minute, is that they got a new face on the school committee that has shown that he's willing to do a lot of work, so that he's not going to be afraid of some of the people who are going to tell him the silly make-believe things like, well, you have to learn the ropes first and everything. No, you don't. Nobody even uses rope anymore, No, they just get in there and take care of business, and I'm sure that's what he's going to do. So that's good. But there's still a lot of people in there that may think about not being there next year. That's what I think. I think they made some inroads, and I think it's up to the people themselves to support the candidates that they wanted to get in there, and the candidates that exist in there, and really start to pull together so that they can have something out this city. Or the city's just going to throw them away. They're disposable items if they don't do something on their own. So that's a pretty sad thing. I believe I have a little cold, so if I sound a little different to you, don't worry about it. I'll be all right. It's just a little cold, And it's all right. I feel like I have a little phlegm in the throat and stuff. Well, today I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about evil, which is a very difficult thing to talk about. And then we'll talk about some more fitness and stuff. We're going to look at fitness again, because this is an important part of being an archangel. These two are probably the most important parts about being an archangel, next to, doing the right thing and all those kind of things like that. Because you have to know who your adversaries are. Who's the enemy? What is evil? It is, trying to research this and trying to find some information on what is evil, that is so subjective. They got so many different synonyms for evil. Wicked. That's one for evil. Then they got bad. That's for evil. And wrong for evil. They just got them going on. Immoral. Sinful, dishonorable, vicious, nefarious. There's a nice one. They got all these different words for evil. And what they really come away with is that evil is just more or less profoundly immoral. That's basically what constitutes evil on a human level. But morality is applied to ethics. So your ethical system may not be immoral to everybody. That old thing. Is it ethical and immoral to murder somebody? In a civilized society, the answer would have to be, well, let me think about that. Yes. But in a system of anarchy or some other system, the answer might be, well, in this case it's all right, in this case it's all right, in this case it's all right. Which then, if you look at a civil society, well, if they do the crime, they have to be murdered. If we are in war, the object is to kill the enemy. So it gets to be real crazy when you're thinking about what is evil. But I feel that the best way to understand what evil is if you see it and you know it's evil, then it's evil. Yeah, that's just how it is as an archangel. If you see something that's just blatantly out of shape, wrong, call it what it is. Don't try to put any mask on. And then the hard part comes into play. You have to go and help. Archangels put the other person before themselves, which is a very, very difficult thing to do. Putting yourself in harm's way to protect somebody else. We're way beyond the initial little startups of doing the right thing by holding the door or helping out an old lady or an old man or picking up a baby's pacifier when they do it on the ground or a doll. We're way past that. We're talking about evil here and how the archangel interacts with that evil, and that becomes difficult because the evil, as these cinnamons have pointed to, it's not very nice. It's the opposite of good. So whatever you think is good, the opposite of that is what evil is. And it's vicious. The vicious part is probably the worst part of the whole thing because vicious and immorality, and just an immoral person, a person with no ethics, these are dangerous. We've been witnessing this more and more as we watch the news and the terror. Well, they ain't even calling them terror attacks. They're calling them mental illness attacks, I guess is what the new thing that they're calling for these attacks. But obviously they have no moral fiber. Their moral compass, has been broke for a long time. Just to go and kill some innocent people, whether they're children, whether they're old people, whether they're young people, whether they're black, whether they're white, just to kill innocent people and stuff, that's evil. Now that guy, he did jump right in, he did jump right in, and that's kind of an archangel type of situation and everything, but it's a dangerous situation to be. I don't know why he jumped in there so good. He was bang right in there, had his rifle. He must keep a rifle at the door. I was wondering, how does this guy have a rifle that fast? And he's shooting it out with the bad guy, with the evil guy.
He shot him 3 times.
Yeah, shot him 3 times. And then another guy came by with a truck. He didn't know and jumped in the car. They chased this boy down the street. This is just a whole lot of something. This is rural America. I'm going to kind of take a little detour for a minute because I want to set this scene a little bit like that with the different kinds of evil. That's rural America. That's not going to happen in the city. Even if you have a good Samaritan, and somebody else is coming down the road and the Good Samaritan flags you down with a rifle, they ain't stopping in the city. They're going to run you over. So you have to know your limitations on your different environments. So in rural America, that was way out there in the rural America. But they even, they talk different. They think differently. They act differently than the people in the city. So, but evil is still evil. The act that was perpetrated was evil. The response by the 2 guys who I'll consider archangels. Don't these things, you have to think it through too. You have to use your brains, and that type of environment, obviously it worked to their benefit. You know, it was all right. The truck stopped. The guy, he asked them, "Yeah, we got to chase him. He just shot up the church. Let's go." And he jumps in with his gun, and they ride off to the sunset, shooting bullets at this bad guy, the evil guy from the church. Is that going to happen in Chicago? No. Nah. There's too no, that ain't going to happen in Chicago. This guy just shot up the church. And you got a gun? He going to shoot you, because he got a gun too. And everybody else got guns. And everybody's got a lot of fear. And that's what I was getting to, was the fear factor that comes from the different environments. In that city in Texas, this small little rural community in Texas, this kind of behavior is almost expected. Yeah, it's not unusual. The light sameness of these people, and they is just that close together that this behavior happens, and as you see it did. You know, the truck stopped. You know, he could obviously see the guy shooting it out with the other guy. He has no idea which one's the bad guy. You know, the police response is slower because they don't live in the same neighborhood. You know, the police station, who knows where the police are in a rural town? They have a big community to go around, and it's spaced out. So you know, like I said, that can happen. So the truck driver can stop, and he feels perfectly comfortable picking up somebody who's shooting at somebody else with a rifle. This is like everyday stuff. You know, that's what he's feeling like. Okay, let's do this, man. We can do this. And again, who are you? Oh, yeah, that's cool. And they run off and just shoot up the place. And you can do that in that type of environment. I wouldn't recommend you do this all the time, but you can get away with it. You can't do that in a city environment. It won't work. You know, it just won't work. You'll get run over, you'll get shot yourself, and you may even get arrested as being in line with the evil person in the first place. So I wouldn't recommend that if you live in Worcester or Boston or New York or Chicago. I wouldn't recommend it at all. So I wouldn't recommend those things. So this is where you see how evil works too. You know, the guy, they say he went there because his mother-in-law and stuff, and he had a domestic argument and stuff, and that's probably true. I don't know why he did that. I know that, not that just trying to say, you know, that he has mental illness and stuff. Well, yeah, he has mental illness. He's evil. Evil has to be a mental illness, because of the way they describe it as immoral. You know, if it's not moral, it's immoral. So if it's immoral, then it's against the norm of society's rule. The ethics of this society isn't in line with this. So this makes you different. So if you're different, they can put that little label on you that you have some kind of mental imbalance. They can do that. They can manipulate the words into any way they want to. But that's the first part of evil. That's the first part of evil. That just gives you an idea of what kind of words they use for evil. And the simple one that they always like to word, evil is the opposite of good. Two subjective terms, evil and good. You know, well, we see what evil is now with all those these good sentiments. But what is good? You know, that's that old ethical question, you know, what is good? It may be good for this society, just like it may be good for that guy to be shooting out with this other guy on the main road, and the truck stops, and you jump in the stranger's truck and ride off at 95 miles an hour, shooting bullets at the guy who shooting bullets at you two now, chasing him down the street. That's good in that society. It's not good in Chicago. It's not good in Worcester. It's not good in the cities type of thing. So, evil is the opposite of good. No. Evil is the absence of good. I can see. Even if you think about good as in ice cream, you know. Oh, that's a good ice cream. Oh, this ice cream's got dirt on it and stuff, so that the absence of good is there. The ice cream's covered with dirt. Don't taste so nice unless you're maybe 2, pushing 3. You know, they don't care. Dirt, sand, it's all good. You know, yeah, it's good ice cream. But if you're 5 or 10, maybe even 5, you can get away with it. If you're older, ice cream with dirt on it isn't good. So that'd be evil ice cream. So that's it. But let me look at some other forms of evil. Right? Yeah, there's other forms of evil. There's natural evil. This is the one I think that everybody really. This is the one that gets in the way of really seeing evil. You know, as for what evil is, the absence of good. I'm gonna call evil the absence of good. Natural evil. You know, what's that? That's like a hurricane. We just witnessed three events of natural evil with the hurricanes and the floodings and earthquakes and all these things, droughts and famine. And you ever hear about those? And locusts and flies and all these other things that come out of the Bible. These are natural evils, you know? And because they're natural, you know, so we have to find some way to justify these evils so that they can be evil, because that's what we have to do. And to justify it, there has to be a blame for it. In today's world right now, we're blaming all these evils that we're calling natural evils on climate change. So climate change is the evil that creates the evil natural evils or natural disasters, you know. But what's the good? Where's the absence of the good? The good would be bright, sunny, beautiful, warm weather all the time. But then that would be boring. So, you know, natural evils are really complicated because we shouldn't be alluding to them as evils. But we do, because we like to have things to point to. Those are evils. And then we go even further. These are acts of God. Now, God is supposed to be the good, right? So that's why they're acts of God, I think. I could be wrong. As God is the good, all these other things are an act of God, so they're the absence of God, because he's the good. Now, why did God disappear? I don't know. Why did he bring about all these evils upon the people in the world, all these hurricanes and stuff? Did he punish all the people in that hurricane-prone areas, all those islands out there, all that Florida? Was God punishing them for some decadentness, or something of that effect? Well, they might take a break. I don't know what he was doing or anything like that. Yeah. But if evil is the absence of good, and everybody's going to say that God is good, and that natural evils are hurricanes and floods and all these things, but these are acts of God, then we get really confused when we start to think about natural evils. And then without natural evils, or clarity on natural evils, how do we justify a human evil? You know, the justification for this this human evil becomes really complicated within itself too. It's hard to justify that human evil. But here's the catch: to be an archangel, you have to make a instant decision on this. So you want to just base your evils not so much on degrees of evil. True, those guys driving trucks into people, shooting up churches, blowing up buildings, killing people just because they're walking down the street, that's evil. As an archangel, there ain't much you can do about that, unless you live in a little rural town with about 800 people where everybody is like-minded to say, all right, let's go, Shane. We'll ride off into the sunset shooting bullets at the bad guy, round up the posse. We're going for it. They can do that, in other parts of this country, it's really not a good thing to do. But it can be done, but it's not a good thing to do. You can get shot by the police, you can get shot by the perpetrator, you can get shot by the old lady who goes to the store. You don't know who has the guns. So that's another thing. I don't think I'll go back there anymore. But so remember, evil as the absence of good doesn't work either, unless you just want to, because of natural evil. Natural things that happen are acts of God. God is good. The acts, the natural evils that happen, floods, hurricanes, earthquakes and stuff, those are evil. So there's an absence of God. But there ain't no justification on why there's an absence of God. Is God absent because I'm evil and I'm living in Puerto Rico? Is he punishing the people in this country? One island got nobody on it anymore. I didn't even know it was an island. Yeah, but they don't even have any people on them anymore. They kind of got wiped out. So you see how difficult this evil stuff is? But the simple part of evil, if you know it's wrong and you know it's evil, then as an archangel, then you have to take some action. You don't have to, but if you want to be an archangel, you should take some action. And we're way out there on the far end of the line of probabilities. We're talking about these type of things. There's evils that take place closer to just everyday type of living. There's evils that take place, and those are the things that you might see. You might be seeing somebody get a domestic violence, or not even the domestic violence. You might see somebody on the street, a man, it'd be domestic violence again, a man and a woman, and the woman's cussing the man out. She's calling him all kinds of names and everything. Now you have no idea why this is taking place. But as an archangel, the thing is to make your presence felt. And we're gonna show that's next week's thing on swagger, because that's what an archangel in a situation like that. You don't go into the situation and take sides, because you don't know. You don't know what the situation is. You don't know why there's a very loud, boisterous, profanity-ridden argument going on in the middle of the street at 12 o'clock on the afternoon between a man and a woman. You have no idea. But as an archangel, your presence is going to be the thing that helps to simmer that down to a level that can be negotiated between those two. And like I said, we're going to work on swagger next week, because that's very important to being an archangel. But this is the line of probability where an archangel interjects himself. And all these is a look. You might just stop and stare at the person, and what are you looking at? And you just might say, I'm not quite sure, I'm not just quite sure. But just in that little bit of instance like that, that's enough to bring about a pause within the argument and stuff. And that's all you really need to have to do. You're not going to go in there and try to settle the argument. You're not going to go in there and try to take sides on who's the wrong and who's the right, because you don't know. And you're not going to be able to settle the argument in the first place. But if you can put a pause in there, then maybe one of the two can say, all right, let's take this up later when we get home or something like that, you know. So this type of evil, is that an evil act? Yeah, that's an evil act that's going on in there. That's evil, but you just don't know where the evil lies. Are they evil people? No, you don't know if they're evil people. Could they be evil people? Could they have a total disregard for anything that's morally correct or ethically, that's seen as ethics in your environment, in the environment they live in? You don't know. That's what's so hard about this evil thing. You can put it on paper and play with all the words and everything, or blame it on God. But you really don't know when it comes to dealing with evil. Mm-hmm. We do it all the time. So we become so used to making things evil. You know, the access of evil. Yeah, you know we have that, right? There's an access of evil. Everybody who does something that we don't like is evil. They're evil. You know, that first started with in 1983. Really was when all that kind of empire evil kind of thing started. You know, we call Russia evil. They put a name right on it. The Soviet Union is evil. Even to this day, you can't turn on the news without the evil Soviet Russians out there doing something. They're so evil that they control our election process for the presidency of the United States. Yeah, and we accept that. Really? I'm like, that's kind of crazy. But this is what we've grown up with. You know, 1983, you know, for some of us wasn't that long ago. For some of us, it was a long time. It's a full lifetime. So for a lot of adults, a full lifetime has been spent on hearing about evil. Yeah, the Soviet Union, oh, they're evil. Iraq, oh, they're evil. Oh, the evil Saddam Hussein, you know he eats his babies. This guy, what? Even when I came home from Vietnam, I was evil because, all the soldiers who went to Vietnam ate their babies. A whole lot of babies must taste good, I guess. They probably put hot sauce on them and they're good to eat. But I don't think anybody eats babies. And then evil Iran. Oh, now we got the big evil Korea. And about time that everybody stopped just playing the eggshell game with Korea, because they're evil, so we have to stop them from making all these evil weapons, this evil hydrogen bomb, the evil atom bomb, and all these other evil things that Korea does. And don't forget Syria, another one of the evil boys on the block. They're all evil. Everybody's evil over there. Oh yeah, and don't forget Africa. Yep. Got the whole continent's evil. You know, everybody in Africa is evil. The east side's evil, the west side's evil, the south is evil, the north is evil. They're all evil. Ain't nobody evil over there. Everybody's evil in that evil country, Africa, or Syria, Korea, Iran, Iraq. But Jordan's evil too, but Jordan's less evil. You know? So, because they're taking in the good people from Syria, the good refugees, because of that evil dictator over there. Yeah. Because he aligned himself with the evil Russian. It's like, that's all we hear. We just think that everybody who's not American is evil. So we've grown up with this understanding that if you're not like me, then you're evil. And this is this is a heavy. It's tiring. I believe it's tiring anyway. As an archangel, the only thing I would say about trying to do something against that type of evil is don't believe it. You know, are there wars? In wars, people die. You know, wars just aren't okay. Only the good people die, not or only the bad people die. And then we have to put them in different color uniforms and all. There's a lot of complications like that, so we know who's the good and who's the bad. But they don't do that anymore. That's how they used to fight wars. You know, you in the war, you go in the army, here's your uniform, got a nice one, ain't that nice? And look, we're gonna put this patch on there so you can really be identified as something different from the enemy. See, we'll put this patch here, and oh yeah, we'll put the flag over here so you know what country you're from. You gotta know what country you're from. So you're from the good country, you're from America. So now you can flex all up and go out there. And they're gonna wear their, oh look at their drab, dreary uniforms they're wearing because they're evil. You know, evils don't wear good, classy uniforms that look good. Oh, look at that uniform. They wear the drab, dirty uniforms that hang loose and stuff, and the patches are tilted, and everything doesn't look sharp and everything, because that's how evil is. Evil's ugly. So they're wearing ugly uniforms, got ugly hats. You know, that got ugly weapons. Look how beautiful our weapon is. See, this is a beautiful weapon right here. Look at how this weapon is big. And see, this is ugly. Look how ugly this is. It don't even have any good shine to it or anything. It's just ugly. And, you know, that's how wars were fought. You know, we don't fight wars like that. Not anymore. You know, wear what you have on. Come as you are. Bring whatever you got in your hand to the war. This is how we fight wars now. If we go into a Middle Eastern country, you know, they ain't wearing a uniform. They got uniform people over there, but they got good, sharp uniforms for parades because they're good. And it's nice and clean and sharp and crisp. And all the other guys wear what they own, and they bring their old-fashioned weapons and all these things like that because they're evil. And evil's ugly. You know, because evil is the absence of good, and good is God, and you know God looks good, right? So you know, if you're evil, you're wearing your ugly clothes, probably pajamas, and you're gonna, at least my day, Vietnam. Oh, you can tell all the BC they wore black pajamas. Did they all wear black pajamas? No, but that's how you could tell the evil. They were evil. Because they wore black pajamas. That's the enemy, wearing black pajamas. Because he's evil, he's wearing ugly black pajamas. So that's that, and that was justifiable. That's how we did it. You know, everything, and we still do it that way. That's how the evil is. And they got evil guns. Ugly evil guns that they flash around and stuff like that. So that's how we've been raised. That's the sad part. That's how we've been raised to see things like that. We've been raised since little kids. Cowboys, the good cowboys, they wear the good white hats, and I think it came from the Lone Ranger or something. I love to have his laundry machine or something. However, he never got dirty. He'd fall off that horse silver and roll around in the dirt and everything, and then pop up and ding, everything sparkling white and clean and everything, and his silver bullets in his head. He never got dirty. I don't know how he managed that, but he was the good guy. Had the white hat, the white horse, the white clothes, the white handled guns, But he had to have some bad in him too. Because, you know, you just can't be all good. You have to show your bad side too. But not your bad in the form of evil, but your bad in the form of superior. So he had a black mask. You know, you gotta have, and all the enemies, all the bad guys wore black hats and ugly clothes. You know, mismatched plaids and all kinds of, got checks going this way and stripes going this way, and everything was all mismatched and everything because they're evil. They don't know how to dress, and that's a sad thing to do. So let's look at the morality of evil for a little bit there. Now when you're evil, right? You don't have a lot of moral fiber. We're going to have to take that as a given. Somebody who's evil probably started out in their life. There's little clues that you could see that's if somebody, you know, what are you doing, little Johnny, little 3-year-old John? Well, I'm just tearing this little spider's legs off because he don't need them anymore. He got 8. I'm only going to take 4 of his legs. That's evil. There's something. Would we call that? Oh, we should take Johnny to a therapist because he might have some mental disabilities. Or he might just be an evil kid. That's a sign that there's something wrong with him, and it can be corrected long before it reaches the stage of, well, what are you doing over there, 20 years Johnny and stuff? He's 20 years old now. I'm just putting these bullets in this gun because I'm going down to the hardware store and I'm going to shoot the whole place up. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Okay. Yeah. It the same Johnny, the same thing, all about himself. His moral compass didn't work. His moral compass on going down to a hardware store to kill people is the same as his moral compass on a spider. Got 8 legs, so I'm just tearing off 4 of them. You know, it's like he doesn't have a lot of moral fiber. And then when you take that and you put that with the world of ethics, where who knows what ethics really is in the first place? I think that's really something that's societal, personal. I don't even know how you would call it, but it's just the rules and the regulations of society. So when one society says it's all right to be thinking like that, then it's okay for little Johnny to take 4 of the spider's legs. But in the same society, it's not okay for little Johnny when he gets older to go shoot the hardware store. You know, that's not okay. That's not a good thing to do. That's ethically wrong for Johnny to shoot people in the hardware store. But it's okay for Johnny when he's a kid to take 4 of the spider's legs. That's all right. We do that in this society. We can do that. Yeah, we can do that. And really, is it all right? I don't know. That's a question for bigger brains to mine. I would say no. It's not all right for Johnny to be taking 4 of the spider's legs. And no, it's not all right for Johnny when he gets older to go shoot up the hardware store. No, so what is right for Johnny? I don't know. You gotta put that energy someplace else. And this is where the Archangel comes into effect. Because you don't have to be an Archangel to strangers. You could be an Archangel right to the people in your family. If you notice that you're Jimmy and you're Johnny's brother, and you notice that this is what Johnny likes to do, you say, Johnny, why you keep doing that to spiders? You know, and then tell your folks, you know, that, you know, hey, Mom, Dad, Johnny keeps pulling 4 of the legs off of spiders all the time. And if they say that's nice, then, you know, get some new folks. That's a sign that there may be some trouble down the line. Not guaranteed now, but there may be some trouble down the line. So this is kind of the thing that's hard to put a finger on when you're talking about moral evils and stuff, because that ethics and that morality is so it's hard to define, because they just define opposites. You know, the human morality is opposites. They're dualities. Good, bad. Okay, both of them. You can probably see easier what is bad than you can see what is good. But good will come first. That's good. So if it's not good, it's bad. If it's bad, it's immoral. Yeah? And then we got right, wrong. In whose society? Right, wrong. Is it right to kill somebody who's coming into your house and trying to do you harm, but you don't know why they're coming in your house or if they want to do you harm? They might be somebody who's totally wasted and think they're going in their own house. So is it right to kill them or is it wrong? Yeah? You got right, wrong. If you kill them, you could be wrong. And if you don't kill them, you may have had to, you know? So you get these dualities like that. Then you got justice and crime. Now, is justice served when you arrest somebody because they were thinking about robbing the bank? Or is justice served only when the action is taken after they robbed the bank? You know, this is the trick right here. And we're living that trick now with terrorism. Is justice served if you intercept somebody's email or social media thing and they were talking about craziness of killing people and stuff like that? Is justice served by arresting them then? Or is justice served if they committed that act? And we know these acts are committed. So, you know, it's not easy to define what evil is. Because just because somebody's thinking about something or talking about it, you really don't know why. They could be having some fantasies and they might just be stoned, who knows? But the crime itself, when the crime's committed, totally you can put a finger on it and say that's an evil thing. But before that, it's hard. And that's where archangels come into play in the family. If you see within your family or something like that, strange type of behavior, if you see little Johnny consistently tearing off spiders' legs and stuff, that's a concerning factor. You know? That's really concerning. Then you act upon those type of things and stuff. Is Johnny evil? No. Does he have an ability to be evil? He might. He doesn't have a good moral compass that would be good or bad, you know, or right or wrong. You know, you wouldn't be able to put fingers on these things. So you have to act on those things. So like good versus evil, you know, we look at that. All the time we make these comparisons. We got good. What do we call good? We call them angels. What do we call evil? We call them devils. And angels are not archangels, because archangels kind of wear kind of muscular, kind of swaggering, kind of forceful, kind of warrior type of clothing and carry swords. You know, if they want to carry swords, but they're big and strong. Devils are little skinny, you know, unnourished looking red black things with fire coming out of their ears. So this is what devils look like. So they're not good. And then we have God and we have the devil himself. You know, God is the picture of God. Nobody know what God looked like. I don't know why people keep on painting pictures of God. They got pictures of Jesus, but they don't even want to use what Jesus looked like when they paint the pictures of him. You know, so oh no, he can't look like that. We'll spruce it up and stuff like that. Make him look more like us, so that he can be more good. So we'll make God look more like us. And that way he'll be better. And we'll make the devil look like all the things that scare us. And that's all we made him into, scary stuff. All the little stories that we hear about goblins and witches and monsters under the beds and everything. And so we'll give the devil all those pictures and stuff. And he'll be evil, because that's an evil look upon him. It's ugly. We make him ugly. Make God beautiful. Make him ugly. Make Jesus beautiful. Make the devil ugly. You know? Was Jesus beautiful? I never met him. I couldn't tell you. You know, and with all the pictures that they have him out there, I couldn't tell you on that. I think he looks just like me, tell you the truth. He looked like this. Highlighter. He got a nice hat though too. But I think that's what Jesus looked like. I don't know, but yeah, if I was Jesus, I want to look like me. No, sorry. But nobody knows what he looks like and stuff. Because that's what the whole thing of evil comes down to. Evil is if it's not really acted upon, then it's just a subjective thing that we use for us against them. But an acted evil is something that you can physically and actively point to. That's an evil act. Pulling the legs off of the spiders, pulling off 4 legs off of spiders is an evil act. You know? Shooting up a church is an evil act. Blowing up a grocery store is an evil act. A hurricane is an evil thing because of the amount of carnage that it leaves behind it. Same with a flood and all these things. These are all evil things, you know. And the other things are all evil. And the us and them part is that's how we judge the evil. We're not evil. That's what we say. No, I'm not evil. So anybody who's like me is not evil. But anybody who is like them, they got to be evil. So that's what we did with the Russians and all these other Syrians and all these other Iraqis and Iranians. They're not like us. So they got to be evil because it's us and them. So when we look at evil, folks, don't try it. It'll hurt your head. It got mine hurt. You know, it's all beat up. It's a hard thing to put your finger on. But if you see it wrong and you're an archangel, do something. And next week, I'm going to be talking about a swagger. But before that, I'm going to be giving a quick little commercials, and then I'm going to give you some more little bit of physical fitness that you need to really enhance that swagger. So, all right, that was difficult.
Lincoln Street in Worcester, 508-752-9229.
All right, we're back with something a whole lot easier than evil. Remember last week we was talking about fitness, and I was talking about swimming and running and different type of ways to get yourself in shape. Well, today we're going to talk about resistance training just a little bit. We're going to talk about calisthenics just a quick bit and weight training, and then we're going to talk about the importance of. This is the important part about for a swagger. You have to have carrying strength. Carrying strength is the most important part of the fitness effect. You can go out there, you can do all type of resistance training. There's band resistance, you can pull the bands, you can do calisthenics, you can do push-ups, you can do things like that. And these are all great, you know, especially I think the band for most people is the best, one of the best exercises that people should use. And they're not being utilized right, because I don't think a lot of people in the gym know how to. And the trainers, they don't really use the bands, or do they use calisthenics? They like to go to the weight training. Now, weight training is resistance training, but the resistance is so much that you lose a lot of flexibility and range of motion. So with losing this type of mobility and range of motion, this is where the problem comes in, and this is where archangels are easy to identify. Because they use the calisthenics and they use the resistance type of bands and they use regular kind of body weight type of things, and in this regard they have flexibility and they have mobility, so they have what they call carrying strength. Now it sounds as though you're just picking stuff up and walking with it and stuff. Basically the thing you're picking up and walking with is you. Yeah. Without the carrying strength, just because you look like the Arnold Schwarzenegger or one of those guys, or you got the Venus female type of body and stuff. That doesn't mean that you really have any carrying strength. You might have real great strength on the bench press. You might have real great strength on doing bicep curls or doing squats or anything like that. But you can hardly walk across the street because you don't have any carrying strength. Your core muscles that are used in the carrying strength aren't really being developed in the way that they should be so that you can create a swagger. And that's what's needed as an archangel, is a swagger. So when you're thinking about this carrying strength, the muscle that's going to be involved are shoulders, back, your butt, legs. Not so much your arms and stuff like that. Your arms are going to come along with that. You're not going to have the great big biceps. You're not going to have the huge tricep with the horseshoe shape and stuff like that. You'll have well-defined arms. They'll come because of the exercises that you do for, like, with the shoulders. You can do exercises above your head, just with a band. You can put the band on your feet, right? And you're standing up. Press the band above your head. You don't have to have take the bar and do a military press with 200 pounds. It's like you can if you want to. You're going to tear your shoulders up eventually. You're going to open yourself up to a lot of injuries and stuff, and you're going to get tired. So your natural walking ability will be affected because of that tiredness. You'll start to lean over. You'll start to and then you'll start to not be able to breathe right. So this is going to really affect your endurance and stuff. So you really won't be able to walk very, very much if you want to create the illusion of real big shoulders by just using military presses, or shrugs with 500 pounds in each hand. Be shredding it all up like I see some guys in the gym. Oh yeah, they look good for magazine stuff, but they can't do anything. They hate, and they'll all say the same. Oh, I hate cardio. Yeah, because they can't move. And then this is a real important part of any type of carrying strength is your back, your full back too, not just the lats. Not just so you have the nice ring shape and everything, but your lower back too. So doing exercises that's going to strengthen that lower core, mostly come in the form of just basic body flexibility and stuff. You want to do good mornings, and that's where you stand up and you bend over at the waist and come back up through your head like this here. But you don't want to, put 100 pounds in each hand while you're doing the good mornings. You don't want to put that much stress on them. You want to, you can utilize machines to go back like this, but you want to strengthen that lower back. And in strengthening that lower back, you want to keep in mind that you have to strengthen your abdominal region. Just by getting a six-pack doesn't give you strength in your abdominal region. Actually, you get a six-pack just by not eating. Yeah. You become malnutrition. You got no fat. It's all been used up. But the back and the shoulders are really important for carrying the weight, carrying the upper body of the weight, to keep that big head up, just like with swimming. It's all about keeping that big head up. And as that big head is erect, now you're able to present yourself in a more positive framework, and you feel more positive about yourself. So your swag is going to become a whole lot better. You'll become great with a swagger, and it'll be noticeable. Yeah, when I was in the service and stuff like that, I could pick out the guys who were in the clerical, or the guys who were in special. They were easy to see. Rangers all have a swagger. That's how they move. Simply because there was a herd mentality, but there still was a swagger. Everybody got that swagger, but they had the physiques and the build to be able to do that. Now the butt is an important unused piece of equipment That's probably the strongest muscle that you have. And I don't know what it is with the girls trying to make it too big. Too big of a butt's not going to work. You know? You'll get a big old strong butt and everything. And it'll throw off the imbalance of your abdominal region and your back, which will throw off the imbalance with your shoulders. So you just want to have a firm, nice, firm kind of butt and stuff like that. You know, one way you can just stand there and squeeze your butt in and out. Isometric type of exercise and stuff, and that'll straighten that butt. Walking will straighten that butt. Lifting your leg up will straighten that butt. Jumping is going to heavily straighten that butt. You can do all these type of things like this without putting 500 pounds on your back and doing squats, which everybody thinks is going to strengthen their legs. And it will if you do the squat correctly, but if you go in the gym, don't follow the way you see people doing the squats and stuff, because 90% of those people doing the squats, they're leaning forward and that's all butt, you know. And if they got a butt that's about 2 meters wide, and that's why they can do 500 pound squats. They got a big old butt. Yeah? And then there's legs. The best way to train legs, you have to put some weight resistance into legs. Not a lot, but just a little bit of weight resistance into legs and stuff. And free squats are great. Any kind of free mobility is great, like that. Scissor kicks, things that isolate the legs up in the air and stuff. And walking, running, things like that. Things where you use these legs. And this is what you need for fitness. This is all fitness now. This isn't bodybuilding. This isn't creating the appearance that you want. This is fitness. And fitness is what is needed for a swagger. And a swagger is what is needed to combat evil, as we saw in one of the illustrations there. If you got a swagger and a presence, then you got 90% of Archangel already done. Your presence alone is what's going to be there to combat the evil. And that used to be the case with a lot of the police force and stuff until the automobile came around, and then they never got out except to go and get a donut, you know. And then the next thing you know, they're so far out of shape that their presence wasn't a deterrent anymore because they had no swagger. And without that swagger, they weren't a deterrent to evil. So that's a little bit. I'll go over some of this stuff again next week before we get into a swagger, how to move with a swagger. You know, how the body moves, how the eyes move, how the head moves, how you stand, how you just breathe with a swagger. All these type of things are important to be an archangel because they're all important in being a deterrent to what is wrong. And what is wrong is evil because it's the absence of good. Well, I want to thank everybody who was able to stay with me. A lot of people stayed with me. We had a lot of listeners and stuff, so that was a good thing because it's a very important thing. Just even if you don't want to be an archangel, it's a very, very important thing, even on your own. If you got little Johnnies, little Janes at home that are doing things that you know are not correct within society norm, you know, you might want to pay attention to that because later on down the life they'll just escalate. You know, and that won't be a good thing. Well, I'm Trooper Joe, and I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me on Archangel Return to Chivalry. And we'll get back to chivalry, and after the swagger, then we're going to be talking about some chivalrous people and stuff like that. Probably Will, Trooper, right here, very chivalrous individual, and we'll be talking about him as an archangel and other people that you may know, that I know, or just people in general on what's an archangel. But first, we have to get through the swagger. That's what it's all about. All right, y'all go and have that fun. And I'm Trooper Joe.